As I checked my phone, I read Miles' text for the 10th time while feeling my world collapse. Asterisk, sorry babe, can't make dinner tonight. Emergency meeting with clients. Asterisk, the message itself didn't trouble me. It was the Instagram photo posted 2 minutes ago of Miles at a rooftop bar, his arm around a blonde who was unmistakably not me. I'm Tabitha, and I've built my online business from the ground up while planning a wedding with a man who apparently couldn't craft a believable lie. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent 3 years growing my company into a 7-figure business while he expanded his list of affairs. Grabbing my keys, I drove to his apartment, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. The doorman, familiar with me, didn't bother to call up as I used my key, the one Miles gave me with a grand speech about our shared future, and walked in. Honey, I'm home. I called in sarcasm. And the sounds of scrambling from the bedroom told me all I needed to know. Miles appeared, shirtless and flustered. Tabitha, what are you doing here? I thought you were at the office. Funny. I thought you were in a client meeting. I held up my phone, displaying the Instagram post. Unless your clients now favor rooftop bars and little black dresses. The blonde emerged behind him, clutching her dress. You said you were single. He's not, I replied, sliding my engagement ring off my finger. It bounced off Miles' chest and clattered to the floor. Baby, please. Miles stepped towards me. It's not what you think. Let me explain. Save it for someone who still believes your lies, I said, turning to leave. He grabbed my arm. You're being dramatic. We can work this out. Don't touch me, we're done. My phone buzzed nonstop on the drive home. Miles, my mother, even my brother Adrian. I ignored them until I pulled into the driveway, where my entire family seemed to have staged an intervention. Tabitha, what have you done? My mother asked as I got out of the car. Miles called us in tears. Of course he did. I tried to move past her, but my father blocked the way. Princess, you're being hasty, he said. Every couple has their issues. Miles is a good man. I laughed bitterly. Caught him cheating today, Dad, in his apartment. Men make mistakes, my sister-in-law Elizabeth said. You can't throw away a relationship over one indiscretion. I looked at them all. My mother wringing her hands, my father's disapproving frown, Adrian's judgmental glance, Elizabeth's smug expression. You're standing here defending him after he's been lying to me for months. Probably longer. He's part of the family, Adrian said, and he's invested a lot in Dad's business. There it was. The real reason they were all here was not my happiness. It was the money. My successful business had padded my family's lifestyle for years, and Miles had ingratiated himself into my father's company. I can't believe this. I shook my head, realizing my family cared more about their bank accounts than my fiancé's betrayal. Now you're being childish, my mother snapped. This is why Miles felt driven to. Don't you dare finish that sentence. My voice was ice cold. Don't you dare blame me for his choices. Tabitha, sleep on it. Tomorrow you'll see things more clearly, my father suggested in that patronizing tone I despised. Oh, I see things perfectly clearly now. I moved past them to my front door. I see exactly who you all are and what I mean to you. Don't be dramatic, Elizabeth shouted after me. You're too emotional, too focused on your little online shop. I slammed the door, cutting her off. Through the window, I watched them huddle together, likely plotting how to make me fall in line. But as I stood there, something shifted inside me. The hurt began hardening into resolve. They thought my business was just a little online shop. They believed I needed Miles, needed their approval. Fine, let them think that. I walked to my home office, opened my laptop to make some calls, starting with my business broker. If they wanted Miles so badly, they could have him, but they'd soon realize what they were losing. You're selling? My business broker, Kate, nearly choked on her coffee over the Zoom call. Tabitha, your company's projected to double next year. Why would you sell it? I need a fresh start, I replied, watching the financials scroll across my screen, and I need it to happen quietly. How fast can you make this work? With these numbers? Maybe a week or 2. Are you sure about this? A text from Miles lit up my phone. Your mother's worried sick. Stop being stubborn and come home. Completely sure. I closed his message. Kate, prioritize female buyers. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of negotiations, paperwork, and ignored calls from family, who were unaware I'd already signed the sale documents and rented an apartment in Boston. You can't avoid us forever. Adrian stopped me outside my house one morning. Mom's barely sleeping. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. Funny how no one seemed concerned while Miles was cheating on me, I replied. He made a mistake. What about Dad's business? He was counting on your engagement to secure a merger with Miles' firm. I laughed bitterly. So, that's what my relationship was worth, a business deal. Don't be naive. Everything's connected, he said. Your little online shop. My little shop paid for your wife's car, funded Mom's renovations, kept Dad afloat during the downturn. I retorted. You know what? You're right. Everything is connected, and it's time to disconnect. The moving company arrived the next day, timed perfectly, a day when everyone would be at work. Just as the last box was loaded, Elizabeth's car screeched into my driveway. What are you doing? She jumped out, recording on her phone. Stop this right now, or what? You'll post it online? Show everyone how unstable I am? I signed the moving paperwork. Go ahead. I'm sure it'll get lots of views. Your mother will be devastated. Is that what you want? What I wanted was support when my fiancé cheated. A family who valued me more than their social status. I handed her an envelope. Give this to them when they get home. What is it? A goodbye letter. Don't bother trying to trace where I'm going. By the time you read it, I'll be gone. The drive to Boston felt like 8 hours of liberation. Each mile marker helped ease the burden on my shoulders. My phone buzzed incessantly until I finally stopped at a rest area to read the messages. Mom, how could you sell your business without telling us? What about our monthly arrangements? Dad. This is completely... As I walked away from my phone, which I had just turned off, I found solace in heading to a nearby coffee shop. The barista greeted me with a smile as she handed over the cup. Rough day, she asked. I returned her smile. Actually, it's the best day I've had in ages. Moving to a new apartment, despite its smaller size compared to my previous home, felt liberating. The Boston skyline view completely made up for it. I only unpacked essentials, leaving the rest boxed up, as the sale of my business had provided a fresh start and ample funds to invest in other entrepreneurial women. As I sat with wine on the empty balcony that night, curiosity got the better of me, and I turned on my phone. Hundreds of messages flooded in, but one from Elizabeth caught my attention. Her words stung. You're running away while your precious family needs you. Miles is stepping up where you haven't. Annoyed, I responded with a screenshot of my bank balance from the sale, before blocking her and others, severing ties to my past life. The next day, meetings awaited with 3 female founders eager for investment and guidance. Like me, they refused to let anyone confine their ambitions. In an office with a view of Boston Harbor, Caden confronted me over coffee. You left behind a successful business and moved here to spite your family? She inquired. Not to spite, I corrected. To liberate myself. There's a difference. She offered to share insights on investment strategies, knowing I lacked experience but had built my business from scratch. A meeting with Simone, a brilliant founder with a groundbreaking healthcare tech platform, soon followed. Her passion resonated with me. Despite interruptions, a voicemail from my father and Adrian's call, I pressed on with investing in Simone's startup. Later, Elizabeth called again, accusing me of negligence as my family's situation worsened. With reluctance, I researched my father's struggling company financials. The troubling numbers didn't deter my resolve. One message from Simone instilled hope, sparking ideas for our next meeting. Coffee tomorrow sounds great, I replied. Determined to bet on Simone's project, I promised $500,000. As her disbelief turned into hope, another call from Adrian drew me away. Dad's had a minor heart attack, he revealed, leveraging guilt to drag me back. But the company's deteriorating. The dilemma between family obligations and my newfound purpose loomed large, yet my path forward felt clearer than ever. By investing in Simone's vision, I chose to embrace my future instead of succumbing to past entanglements. You can't hold me responsible for Miles' choices, I told Adrian the day after you left. He withdrew his investment, claiming he couldn't trust a family that raised someone so self-centered. Now the bank is demanding repayment on loans. Stop. I held my fingers to my temple, begging, just stop. You can't place Miles' choices on me. Can't I? You knew what your dramatic exit would cost us, but you only thought of yourself. Through the window, I watched Simone examine the investment documents, hope shining in her eyes. I've got to leave. Of course, run away. It's what you're skilled at. Back inside, Simone looked up with concern. Everything all right? She asked. My father is in the hospital. I sighed, taking a seat heavily. Minor heart attack. Oh God, I'm so sorry. We can do this another time. No, I replied, pulling out my pen. Let's complete this now. I believe in you and your project. That doesn't change because of family drama. We signed the papers, making it official. As Simone embraced me goodbye, my phone buzzed, a message from my mother. Your father asked about you today in the hospital. Remember when you scraped your knee as a child? He carried you all the way home. Now he needs you. And where are you? Trembling, I closed the message, just as another text from Elizabeth came through. Hope you're proud. Your father's company is laying off 30 people next week, families with children and mortgages, all because you couldn't handle a simple relationship issue like an adult. I was about to block her when Caden called. Hey, heard you sealed the deal with Simone. Want to celebrate? I can't. Family emergency. Her voice softened. The past catching up? My father's in the hospital, heart attack. And apparently, I'm blamed for destroying his company and ruining 30 families' lives. Interesting math, Caden paused. Want some advice? Please. Go see him. What? Go see your father. Not for him, for yourself. Confront them, say what you must, then leave. Otherwise, they'll keep living in your mind rent-free. Looking at my calendar. Simone's investment done. Other meetings could wait. You're right. I exhaled deeply. I'll book a flight. Good, and Tabitha, Caden added, remember you're no longer that scared little girl. You're an investor now. Act like it. I booked a flight for the following morning, then called my brother. I'm coming tomorrow, I told him, but just to see Dad, not to fix the company. Of course not, he sneered. Why would you help the family that raised you? The family that valued me so little they sided with my cheating fiancé, that family? He made one mistake, and I chose to value myself. Deal with it. I ended the call and opened my laptop, revisiting my father's company financials. The numbers were worse than before. Part of me wanted to rush in, fix everything, be the good daughter they expected, but the investment agreement with Simone reminded me why I left. They hadn't just sided with Miles. They tried to confine me to meet their expectations, and if I saved them now, nothing would change. My phone buzzed once more, a message from Simone. Just informed my team about the investment. They're shedding tears of joy. You've touched lives today, Tabitha. Thank you for believing in us. I smiled, captured the message, and booked my hotel. Tomorrow, I'd confront the past, but tonight, I'd celebrate transforming lives from choice, not obligation. 3 months after the terse hospital visit with my father, I sat in Caden's office reviewing Simone's latest progress. The figures were astounding. She'd surpassed projections by 40%. Your first investment's a home run, Caden whistled. The healthcare sector was ready for change, I noted, scrolling through the data. And Simone is a visionary. Yes, but let's discuss your other success stories, Caden said, displaying a spreadsheet. You've had 3 more profitable investments in women-led startups. Your instincts are sharp, kid. My phone buzzed. Another email from Adrian, a regular guilt-ridden message post-hospital stay, varied only in wording. I deleted it unread. About instincts. Caden leaned closer. There's an investors' conference downtown tonight. Simone's presenting, you should come. The conference hall brimming with Boston's tech elite, Simone commandeered the stage. showcasing her company's exceptional growth. Pride filled my chest as I stood at the back when a familiar voice halted me. Tabitha. Slowly, I turned, facing Miles. In an expensive suit, he looked unchanged since the day I discovered his infidelity. What are you doing in Boston? I maintained a steady voice though my heart raced. Consulting work. He glanced around before moving nearer. I've tried reaching you through family. Classy. They're concerned, he whispered. We all are. Your father's company is barely hanging on. Adrian's job hunting. Even your mother canceled her country club membership. I almost laughed at the mention. And you could assist, given your resources, he added, hearing of my investments. Stop. I raised my hand. Is that why you're here? To convince me to bail them out? I'm here for work, but seeing you. He reached for my arm. I miss you, Tab. We all do. You're doing admirable work. But, Tabitha, Simone intruded. The Singapore investors wish to meet. Oh, am I interrupting? She asked. No. I stepped away from Miles. Simone, this is my ex-fiancé. He was just leaving. Miles adjusted his tie. I'd love to hear about your company. Perhaps a collaboration with my firm? Your firm? I chuckled coldly. The same one that bailed on my father's company when times got tough, that firm? Simone's eyes widened in recognition. Oh, you're that Miles. Sorry, we're not interested in fair-weather investors. Tabitha, the Singapore team awaits, she reminded, and as we departed, I heard Miles call, Your family needs you, Tab. How long will you punish them? I turned. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm investing in people who believe in themselves as much as I do. Later, over celebratory drinks with Simone and her team, my phone buzzed with an Elizabeth text. Saw Miles today. He shared your little success. Must be nice playing investor while your family struggles. Mom's selling her jewelry now. I showed the message to Simone, who snorted. Wow. They really know how to lay it on thick, don't they? They equate money with love. I sighed. That's why they can't grasp why I won't help. But you are helping. Simone gestured to her team celebrating their successful presentation. Just not them. My phone buzzed again, this time Caden. Heard Miles showed up, are you fine? Looking around the bar at the brilliant women I'd invested in, at Simone whose firm was transforming lives, at the future I was building, free from manipulation and guilt, I replied, never better. Good. Caden texted back. Wait until you see tomorrow's tech news. Simone's company's valued triple our initial investment. You're not just surviving anymore, kid. Simone and I raised our glasses. A nod to our thriving journey. To having faith in ourselves, Simone repeated, a smile playing on her lips. And to proving them wrong. Just then my phone pinged. A text from my mother read, Emile says you're successful now. Why won't you support your family? What did we do to deserve this? I blocked her number and lifted my glass, once more. To choosing our own family, I declared, as the women around me cheered, oblivious to how significant that toast was to me. Observing them bask in their achievements, ones I helped facilitate, made me realize something crucial. My family viewed my independence as punishment. They couldn't grasp that it was actually liberation, not just for myself, but for every woman I could uplift along the way. When the elevator doors opened, my assistant greeted me. He's in your office. I said you had meetings all day, but he insisted on waiting. I knew exactly who it was. Through the glass office walls, I saw Miles, settling in one of the visitor chairs, engrossed in his phone. It had been 2 weeks since our incidental meeting at the conference, yet here he was, neither invited nor welcome. How long has he been here? I asked her. 3 hours. Shall I get security? Looking sharp, I replied, No, I'll handle it. As soon as I entered, Miles stood up, and the scent of his cologne brought back a rush of memories. Finally, he said, Your assistant is very protective. She's excellent at her job, I replied, positioning myself behind the desk, offering him no seat. What brings you here? He lifted his phone, revealing an article about Simone's thriving company. You're all over tech news, he stated. Rising star investor. Advocate for female entrepreneurs. Quite the reputation you're crafting. Why are you here? I reiterated. He sat down uninvited. Your father's company filed for bankruptcy yesterday. Adrian lost his house. They've returned to live with your parents. They're struggling. Leaning forward, he continued, one investment from you could salvage them. Like when you withdrew your investments. That was business, this is family. I shot back, pulling on my calendar. It's funny how those lines blur conveniently. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. Miles slammed his hand on my desk. For heaven's sake, Tabitha, stop being so detached. These are the people who care about you. Care about what I could do for them. I retorted, laughing. It's different. He softened. We all made mistakes, me most of all. Seeing you at the conference, your accomplishments, made me realize what I let go. Let me guess. Your consultancy isn't flourishing? I asked. His flinch was telling. That's not fair, he murmured. Isn't it? You seem to appear when you need something. I rose from my chair. The answer is no. I will not invest in Dad's company or bail out Adrian, and certainly won't grant you another chance. Your mother was right, he hissed. You've become cold-hearted. No, I've become strong. I calmly replied. Just then, Simone entered, detecting the tension. Oh, I'm early for our meeting. Perfect timing, I said as Miles prepared to leave. This conversation isn't over, he warned, moving toward the exit. Oh, but it is, I corrected. Security, please escort Mr. Turner out and update his access to restricted. Once he left, Simone commented. That was intense. You all right? I nodded. Better than okay. Show me the new prototype. As we delved into work, my phone interrupted with messages from Adrian. Are you happy now? Dad's company is gone. 30 years of his work and you've eradicated it. Hope your vengeance was worth it. Then from Elizabeth. Your mother can't stop weeping. Congratulations, you fractured your family. Finally, my father. Never thought you'd stand by while your family suffered, having the means to help. I don't recognize you anymore. Simone witnessed my reactions, noting, they truly have no clue, do they? I tucked my phone away. Not at all. They believe this is retribution. Is it? Simone asked. Initially, perhaps, I admitted. But now, it's about pioneering something substantial. We immersed ourselves back in work. Alone at home that evening, I retrieved an old Christmas photo of my family, smiling, clothed in luxury financed by my modest online business. Miles, prominent in the picture, arm around me, likely texting another woman under the table. My phone rang. It was Caden. Heard you had an interesting visitor today. News sure spreads fast, she quipped. Staring at the photo, I deleted it. Actually, I'm okay. More than okay. Because, I added, I received a tip about a brilliant woman focusing on a renewable energy startup. Interested? Opening my laptop, I replied, tell me more. Dinner at the new spot on Newberry, Caden suggested. Sounds perfect, I answered, checking my phone one last time and noting 3 more unread messages from my family. I turned it off, unconcerned if they found me cold or blamed me for their choices. My day tomorrow included meetings with women who were shaping the future, no longer held back by a past that wasn't real. Hey, Caden, I said before hanging up. Thank you for everything. Don't get all soft on me now, she laughed. Save that vigor for tomorrow's pitches. Gazing across the Boston skyline, its lights brimming with potential, I thought about numerous women challenging the status quo. I had stopped conforming and was just commencing my journey. They're all inside, Caden informed me as we reached my parents' house. 6 months had flown by since Miles's office intrusion, and here I was again, facing a familiar setting. Are you sure about this? Caden inquired. I took a deep breath. Not entirely, I admitted, eyeing the once familiar front door, but it's been pending for long enough. 3 days prior, I'd received the email, an announcement from my mother, indicating they were selling the family home. The house I had grown up in was slated to become a mere real estate listing. As I lifted my hand to knock, the door swung open, revealing my mother, noticeably older. her designer attire replaced by more affordable wear. "You came," she stated flatly, disbelief evident. "I wasn't sure you would." "Let's not prolong this," I responded, stepping inside with Caden close on my heels. Inside, silence greeted me as I entered the living room. Adrian and Elizabeth occupied the couch, while my father settled in his armchair, appearing friendlier than I recalled. Unexpectedly, Miles was present too. "Why is he here?" I inquired sharply. "I invited him," my father clarified. "We need to discuss the future of this family." "There's nothing to discuss," I replied sternly, remaining on my feet. "I received the email about selling the house. I'm here to retrieve my belongings. That's all." "Your belongings?" scoffed Elizabeth. "What about everything you've taken from us? Our stability, our reputation, the handouts?" Caden cut in smoothly, drawing the room's attention to her. "And you are?" my mother questioned. "Caden Brewer," she introduced, Tabitha's mentor and friend. Also the catalyst behind her transformative multi-million-dollar investment portfolio. $1 million? My father questioned, momentarily shaken. "The news articles didn't mention." "Let's halt," I interjected, raising my hand. "I'm not here to discuss my finances." "Then why are you here, Adrian?" Continued to question harshly, observing us as we packed up. There she stood, gloating. Despite everything, this was my home too. Was it truly my father speaking, with a voice breaking? The daughter I raised would never leave her family? The father I cherished wouldn't have opted for my unfaithful fiancé over me? Those words lingered like smoke in the air. "We didn't choose him," my mother insisted. "We chose stability." "No," I corrected. "You chose wealth, my wealth. When I stopped offering it, you showed just how conditional your love was." Miles began. "That's not fair." "You don't get to talk about fairness," Caden interjected. "He cheated on her, manipulated her family, and then tried to return when he heard of her success. Success built not on our suffering, but on her talent," Caden countered. "The very talent you disregarded and belittled until it benefited you." My father struggled to stand. "We're selling everything, the house, the cars, moving to a smaller place. Is this what you wanted? To see us humbled?" "What I wanted," I replied, taking a steady breath, "was for my family to love me for who I am, not for what I could provide." I placed an envelope on the table. "What's this?" Adrian reached for it. "A reality check. Inside is a detailed account of every dollar I contributed and how it was spent," I explained, watching their faces blanch. "I had a forensic accountant review everything." "You investigated us?" My mother's voice trembled. "I needed to understand, and now I do," I said, stepping back. "You never saw me as successful, just a source of money. Now, you're not remorseful for how you treated me, you're just upset over losing access to my money." "That's not true," my father weakly protested. "Really?" I gestured towards Miles. "Then why is he here?" "Surely not for moral support." The silence said it all. "I'm done," I said quietly. "Keep the house, sell it. But this is the last you'll see of me. I've created something beautiful without you, and I won't let you destroy it." "Tabitha, please," my mother pleaded. "We can fix this." "No, Mom, we can't." "Because you still don't understand what needs fixing," I said, as I turned to leave. Adrian blocked me. "That's it? You're choosing strangers over family?" "No, I'm choosing myself," I finally replied, moving past him. "Goodbye." Outside, the summer air felt pure, refreshing. Caden placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" "Actually, yes," I responded, glancing back at the house for the last time. They needed to know the truth, but not for them, for me. My phone buzzed. Simone needed an urgent meeting, something big. Seeing Caden's grin, I realized life continues and mine was flourishing. We left the memories and my conditional family behind. Ahead was Boston, my chosen family, and a future I'd crafted myself. It was no longer about revenge, it was liberation. As I prepared to announce the Entrepreneur of the Year, I scanned the ballroom. Our recipient has truly shown how determination and vision can transform the world. Simone Stone, please join us. Applause roared as Simone approached the stage, with a screen showcasing her healthcare platform's immense impact. Before accepting, Simone acknowledged, "I owe this to the person who believed in me when no one else would." Tabitha invested more than money. She invested faith, and look what it built. Applause erupted. From the audience, Caden sent a thumbs up, surrounded by 5 other women whose ventures I'd supported. My new family, founded on dreams and trust, not obligation or guilt. My phone buzzed. News of my father's former company. The building had become a startup incubator. The irony made me smile. Later, as the staff cleared and guests mingled, Elizabeth approached me. Different, perhaps humbled. "Nice speech," she said awkwardly. "You look well." "Thanks," I replied, gesturing to an empty seat. "Adrian found work, nothing notable but a start. Mom and Dad are settling into their new apartment." "Good for them," I replied. "They miss you," she said softly. "We all do." "Elizabeth," I began. "No, let me finish," she insisted, showing me her phone with a website. "I started a small online crafts business. Nothing like your ventures, but your success encouraged me to try." I searched her expression for insincerity, but found only honesty. "That's great," I said cautiously. "I'm not here for money," she quickly added, "just to admit that you were right. We took you for granted, treated you as a bank instead of a person."
"I'm truly sorry."
Before I could respond, Simone bounded over. "Tabitha, the Singapore investors want expansion." "Oh, sorry. Elizabeth, stay." "I should go." Elizabeth stood. "But thanks for listening." As she walked away, Simone raised an eyebrow. "Family drama?" "More like growth," I smiled. "Now, tell me about Singapore." The night ended with Caden's insistence on a final toast at our favorite bar. As we settled into our usual booth, she slid a folder across the table. "What's this?" "Open it." Inside was a partnership agreement, my name next to hers. "You've outgrown mentee status," she said. "Time to make it official." "Caden, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," she smiled. "Then help me with these startup pitches. 20 meetings tomorrow." My phone lit up. A message from Elizabeth. "Mom asked for your website. She wants to see what you've created. Progress." I showed Caden, who laughed. "The prodigal family discovers Google. Baby steps." "Tell her to check out the Forbes article too, the one about women shifting the tech landscape." "Look at you. Showing off," Caden teased. "No," I corrected, showing them who I always was. They just never realized it. The bar's door opened. Simone's team celebrated their success. They pulled up chairs, ordered drinks, shared dreams. I watched these brilliant women, my real family. Speaking of seeing, Caden nodded towards the window. Outside, a young woman paced, clutching a laptop. Another budding entrepreneur? Familiar, doesn't she? Like someone gathering courage to change her life. I stood up. "I'll be right back." The woman jumped as I opened the door. "Oh, I'm sorry. I have this business plan and I read about you in Forbes." "Come inside," I invited. "First rule of success. Don't pitch in the cold." Her eyes widened. "Really?" "Really," I assured. "I believe in paying it forward." "You're in good company." I gestured to our table of successful women. Settling in, she shared her ideas, excitement evident. Everything clicked into place. This was never about revenge, not even about success. This was about breaking cycles, building bridges, lifting others as I climbed. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Adrian. "Elizabeth mentioned today. Dad actually smiled reading about your award. Maybe someday." Leaving it unfinished, someday was for tomorrow. Tonight celebrated our journey and helping another woman embark on hers toward freedom. That was the ultimate success.